Good morning. I am going to call the Strategic Planning, Technology and Transportation meeting to order. Need approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second. Oh.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Approval of the minutes from September 2018 meeting.
For September 26th.
Yes, September 26th.
I make the motion that we approve the minutes from the September 26th meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right. Strategic plan implementation update.
Okay, you have the PowerPoint in the packet. This is the initiative regarding an employee recognition system. Dr. Barnes is the executive sponsor. Ms. French is the initiative owner, and this one is going to the Board of Education for review at the December meeting. And Dr. Barnes is here in case anybody had any questions.
It's just for information.
It is just for information.
Everybody have the update?
I do.
Any questions or comments to be made?
I do not have any questions.
I don't have it either.
Okay. Matt, you good?
I'm good.
All righty. Thank you for that update. Technology updates.
You're up, Mr. Parker.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
In your packets, in your email, you have some presentations, included Land School electronic K2 report cards and our projection device standards. So today it's just an informational piece to give you some updates about it. So the Land School, which I'll start first, it's in the packet I put on the tables. It's the blue slides that you'll have in your electronic. Land School is a software product that allows teachers to look at a central console, all of the student Chromebook screens from her desk. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, and what this allows the teacher to do is if a student is sent to the library to research environmental studies or something like that, he or she can see the screen of the student the entire time they're in their class. So they can also the teacher can share their screen with the student. If a student's struggling with a math problem, they're able to drag their screen onto the students and demonstrate some kind of example for the student. But this allows teachers to send messages to students on their screens. It allows the teacher to capture the student's screen. It also allows the teacher to black out the screen if the student's not following along with instruction. So this product is at no cost. We included that in our negotiations for our RFP with Lenovo. So from grades 3 through 12, it's included. We piloted it at CATA over the last 3 weeks, and now we are ready to present it to other schools after the first of the year. We just wanted to give you this informational update that teachers have the ability to do this in their classrooms and able to help their students electronically now from one central console.
What does implementation look like? Like there's got to be a configuration and things like that.
Yeah, right? We've got all of our servers configured and set up with extra memory to handle it. So now it's a training and a timeline. Now, from a technical standpoint, it's ready to go.
So this is just laptops assigned to students assigned to teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, it's like an upload.
It is.
That's how you link everything?
You're exactly correct. And what we've done in the background is we configured a feed from PowerSchool, a data feed. So when teachers pull up their classroom, they just have to click on one button and it automatically loads all their students for them. So as the semester changes or as new kids come to the class, as soon as PowerSchool's updated, their console's updated. All they have to do is click on their class. So we automated that so teachers just turn on their computer, click on one button, and they can see all the students in the classroom. And when they leave the
Jay,
classroom, it disappears. Yes, ma'am?
Okay, that was going to be my question. So if the kid is at home
Mm-mm.
doing their homework or, whatever, that teacher cannot see what is on their screen.
That is correct. In the administrative console, we have it configured just for the time limit of the school day. So whatever the school
Okay.
period is all that you can see.
Because my question was, I didn't know if this was going to be useful for online classes or like UC virtual. If a teacher and an online instructor would be able to assist a student that was taking an online course.
It could be configured that way. Presently, it's not, but it does have that option.
Okay. Okay. So this is only in the classroom, and when they leave that classroom and go to a different classroom, the teacher automatically loses that feed?
Yes, ma'am. The next teacher just clicks on her classroom and they leave that room and go to the next room. That's all the teacher does is click one button.
So is it kind of like a tracking device?
Not necessarily. It's just the way that Power School is configured with the schedules. And as a child moves, then the Power School updates based on the class list. So
Okay.
it's in an essence just tracking what classes they're taking.
Okay.
So going back to that, say you're in high school, you have one teacher that has one class.
Mhm.
Student goes to the next class, that teacher's going to lose connectivity when they go to the next class.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
You only see it during your time period.
Okay. And the other question too, is there any type of like screen overlay, screen help sharing? where you
Yes,
can-
there is.
Okay.
The teacher has the ability to actually click on the student's screen and type a message to them.
Okay.
Like, you might find an example here, or here's another, a web address that might help you, research this product. So the teacher's able to help from one central console, where in the past you'd have to walk around and look at all of the screens to make sure the students were following along and everybody was on task. Now she can just glance at her screen and see everybody's one glance.
Okay. So there's nothing like a dry erase board where like you can do an overlay on the screen or anything?
No.
Okay. It's more messaging.
It is.
Okay.
So it was just negotiated in with the RFP, so there's no cost to that.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions on the land school?
No.
Okay.
All right. Electronic K through 2 report card?
Yeah, the K2 report cards in your in the packets I provided here and also in electronic, there is an implementation plan. It's one of the first slides in, shows you a timeline starting in May and ending now. It just gives you the timeline. And what this allowed us to do is convert from a multi-part carbon paper. In K through 2, they had carbon. The teacher would write on it. It would go through to the other layers, and each person would get a copy, the parent, the school, the teacher. And it was a labor intensive and a manual, upkeep of those documents. This is a conversion to Power School. So it's converting to an electronic report card. And in the packets here that I provided on the last page, you can see a copy of the electronic report cards. But that allows also it to be tracked year after year. It allows teachers to type in the information into Power School, save the information from year to year, and it's all electronic. And besides the efficiency, we did a parent and teacher surveys and found out that overwhelmingly the teachers and the parents approved of the new process. And the schools that we tested it in were Indian Trail, Rayview, Wingate, and Weddington. For the first 6 weeks, we've been through that. For the third 6 weeks, we're moving to Waxhaw, New Salem, Stallings, and Porter Ridge. Those will be our next ones. And then our plan is to pilot all of these schools through the end of the school year, and next year start electronic report cards in all elementary schools and grades K through 2.
Of the 20% that did not like the report card format, were there any comments given?
There was. Some of the parents liked the handwritten, longer explanations out to the right instead of a short one sentence. Some teachers were writing a lot of information into a block in tiny, space. They were writing a lot of information. They liked that. And with the electronic one, it's limited to space because it's a format. It's like a template. So there's a format on how much you can put in there, into the block of information.
I'm trying to remember. I saw an example somewhere.
In the
Yeah, here we
last,
go. There's a PDF.
yeah, in the last page of this packet, right, that you should have on your desk, you should have a copy of the, if you look on the last page of that one, you'll see a copy of the report card. So it looks just like the 3 through 12 report cards, but a lot more in depth and a lot more information included in it.
Is there no way to get a maybe larger general comment section towards the bottom?
There is a way to put comments at the bottom and move the legend to the back, which we explored that possibility of doing that next year, of creating pre-printed paper that has the legends all on the back of it, and creating more comment space at the bottom, which is really called school announcements. There is a place to add more comments.
So I'm assuming that's limited by 255 characters.
It is.
Max.
It's that common space at the bottom is limited by that. The other spaces, I think, are only 56 characters. You can see the comments that are out there now and a sample of it.
How often are we having parent-teacher conferences at that level, K through 2? How often are we having K through 2 parent-teacher conferences? It's definitely not every marking period though, right? Is it twice a year maybe?
I know of twice a year, but it may be twice a year. I need to check if it's more than that, though.
Okay. I'm just curious, as this isn't the only means of communication, so curious how interactive that, what the cadence is, just to see if we're having that proper line of communication open.
Yeah, it's, you can attach, what we've told teachers is if there's more information that's needed for that child, you can keep it in like a Word document and keep attaching to this report card. So, if there's more information that would be value added to this.
Okay.
Can attachments be stored within the database?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
What you're seeing is Power School reflection of what they have
There's a
determined.
limitation on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the teaching methods.
So yeah, I think if we add more space to the comment section, that'd be good. And then 50 characters seems small to me on the individual comments.
And it was a 255 character limit on the comment section?
At the bottom section, they call it
database
school comments is what it's actually called, but yes.
All right. Any other questions?
No,
I don't.
I've got one more. I did notice a teacher comment. There's not a place for a word study grade, and I feel that is something that the lower grades need. Is that?
We looked at adding that for next year, is adding that in there. When we bring on the next pilot schools, we're going to bring that on with them and let them pilot that piece. And it's just another category that'll show up on that report card.
Okay. I like it, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It's a change. I mean, it's electronic from the world of paper, but also it gives us a means of tracking over time. The last piece is the projection device standards and plans for.
Yeah, one more
Oh, yes, sir.
question. Are each one of the columns currently relevant? The T1, T2,
Yes.
T3? Can
Their
you tell me again what
term, their
those are?
term 1, which is really the 6 weeks,
And then the S is semester?
the semester.
Okay. And is that relevant at the K2 level?
They
Semesters, 'cause they're
add
not really changing, right?
Yeah, it's not changing a lot, but the teachers asked for us when we built this report card. We met with them and the principals and said, tell us what you want to see.
Okay.
And they wanted to see this type format. And the teachers overwhelmingly loved this new electronic piece. It saves them so much time and it gives a clearer picture instead of handwriting everything on paper.
Okay.
One more question too. I just thought about. Will this be watermarked in any way when they send it out?
We have done that in the past. Currently, we haven't in those grade levels. In the upper grade levels, you get people that can white out and make copies, so you watermark them or give it a different color paper. But that's an option in the future. Yes.
All right.
Okay. The final one is the projection device standards, and electronically and in the packets I have here on the table, it basically goes over our projection devices in classrooms, and that's interactive boards, non-interactive projectors, our TVs that we have in our classrooms. So these devices, we have in the past not had a standard around that. So schools were tasked with getting bulbs and getting supplies for all of these devices, and they were all different brands. And as the devices die, you end up with excess inventory and excess bulbs. So part of this was to step out and create some standards and governance around our devices. And currently, all the implementation in the past has been that most of these electronic boards are at least 9 to 10 years old based on our inventory. Unless the school purchased them through a PTA or PTO, the district installed most of these 9 to 10 years ago. The life expectancy of an electronic board is about 10 years. So we're at the point now to refresh our schools and put new electronic projection devices in the classrooms. We brought in teaching and learning department and brought in our principals and let them look at all the devices and then start to determine what is best for instructional classrooms to use. And then we will develop a refresh plan around that. And so what I'll be coming back with after the first of the year is actually a refresh plan of upgrading all these devices and bringing them up to a current standard. We submitted an RFP from Technology Services for all these devices to extend 5-year warranties on everything and then ask for the best cost price and best product out there. So that way schools will obtain the best value they can when they purchase something with the longest warranty available. So our plan is to come back and show you a refresh plan across the district on how many classrooms we have and the plan we would to start to refresh this.
So the devices on the second page, that's
Yes.
what our RFP is for?
Yeah, they're currently what you're paying for the devices. Yes, you're right. It's for the RFP. And that's the current prices that we're paying for our projection devices.
Okay. So I guess my question is, when we go to standardization, it's going to be just one device or will it be multiple?
It'll be multiple devices based on the classroom need. So some may have a touch where they want the students to come up and have an interactive piece. Mm-hmm. And other places, it may just be a 70-inch TV, which we introduced, a high-definition 70-inch TV where the students are not coming up to the screen, but there is some interactivity using their, Google Chrome console or their, connections to the boards. And so we wanted to provide different devices and let the instructional team tell us what's best for that classroom.
Okay. Are we going to try to standardize it?
We will for brands.
Okay. Or will there be some discretion for one teacher might want one device versus another? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
So if a teacher determines that she needs a different device than what she has, she would go back to the teaching and learning team and explain her need for that, and then we would make adjustments.
And how many?
Jay, what will happen to the old smart boards? I know we had an opportunity to redeem some money from our old laptops. Is there any opportunity with the old smart boards?
To be honest, I'm not sure. I haven't checked our resellers to see if there's a market for that, but I will look into that. That's a good idea.
I didn't know if it was a parts issue or what, if there was an opportunity to do something similar with the smart boards that you did with the laptop.
There may be. I'll look into that and let you know.
Okay.
What's the total amount of devices also?
There's 2350, about 2350 in classrooms. So when you do a refresh plan and you're trying to hit all of those in classrooms, not all of them will have interactive boards. Some just need a projector. Some just need a TV. It just depends on the instruction that matches, the classroom.
Okay.
Do you anticipate doing this one school at a time or just by age of the device? How do you think you'll roll this out?
My initial thoughts were to do a 5-year refresh plan with 20% a year and then actually going back to the schools and saying, tell us the 20% that are the worst in your school. You know,
Okay.
which ones are dim or not working correctly or don't come on every day, and we'll start with those first and back our way up.
Okay.
All right, couple of questions here. I know with the TV, the model's going to change consistently every year.
It will.
How are we going to deal with that?
In the RFP, we asked them to provide these specs for a device with a 5-year plan,
Okay.
5-year warranty, and if it can't be repaired, we want a model similar that must encompass our specs for each TV, which is refresh rates, display, and longevity, but we want 5 years on everything.
Okay.
Typically, the interactive boards last 10 years, but for the first 5, you know, we want a maintenance-free environment for our schools.
Okay. And the interactive panel on a rolling cart, how safe is that as far as like tipping over and everything else?
It's safe. We have many schools that prefer actually their boards on carts, you know, having them in a rolling setup so that if one of them dies, you can actually roll another one in, or you can utilize your classroom in different manners. You can roll it over to a corner, you can put it up by the teacher's desk. So we've had a lot of positive feedback on keeping them on rollers more than mounted.
So I guess how many classrooms do you anticipate having the wall mounted?
It'll be determined by the school. On our refresh rate, we'll determine how many devices you need in there, and then how many roller carts based on the principal and teaching and learning's feedback to us.
Okay.
So I'm sure there'll be situations where they will be mounted and there won't be roller carts, but there will be others where they prefer that. So when we build our refresh plan, we will put that in there.
Are they the same size?
The device is the same size,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. I just wonder why we just wouldn't go with rolling carts.
In some EC classrooms, they wanted them mounted just
Okay.
for those type situations, but I'm sure there's others out there.
Okay.
The 70-inch TV monitors, are they in essence just a monitor of the whatever laptop is being utilized at the time?
It's just a display. It's like your home TV, your 70-inch home TV, but there is a product called Chromecast where you can cast your screen up to the TV and use it. So that's a software ability that's already on the Chromebooks now.
So I'm just curious, the 4K Ultra HD and the smart aspect of the TV, are those needed? Because like the smart just is a bunch of standard apps that usually come with it. I don't think any of them are relevant to the instruction.
Some of it's the YouTube that they like to use for the classrooms, and some of the younger grades, they use a lot of that. And the smart aspect was just to connect it to the internet so that the teacher has the ability to go to a website and show it on that screen and connect to our networks.
And do we want that? Because is that going to go through our, that'll go through all of our
it will
security and
it will. It's no more than our teachers connecting wirelessly with their laptops to one of the access points. That's basically what we'll do. We'll connect the device to an access point. And
then you can whitelist, blacklist.
It will be.
Okay.
I mean, we've got Chromecast, but we really need the smart.
That's where I was going.
Sometimes we're perceiving that the teachers would want to go out and use YouTube, use something to watch a video on the internet or watch a streaming TV channel, that's, broadcasting an event. So we left it as an option. You can turn it off.
Yeah, I just figured they could use their laptop and Chromecast it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we're going above and beyond in delivering the capability, like could we get a larger display without the smart feature and, come out even? Or is there, a cheaper model at the 70-inch that we could utilize? Again, if you have the capability on your laptop and Chromecast, is the smart feature needed? Because that's usually, a couple $100 extra per unit.
Yeah, and we'll look at, we can give you back, when we come back with a refresh plan, I'll give you some cost on that too. And I'll put that in there.
And are these commercial rated displays?
They are.
So the warranty is probably 2 to 3 years on those?
Yes, and we ask for 5 years from them, even if it's through a third-party vendor. So we just want to make sure that there's that longevity in the schools.
Okay. So I know really the only difference between a commercial and a, I guess, residential display is the warranty. I mean, the majority of the features are the same.
They are.
All right. Anything else for the technology update?
No, sir, that's it for me.
And how are we tracking on our roadmap and everything? It's looking good.
Yes, sir. We've accomplished, on our roadmap, we've hit all of our targets so far. We've got our packet shapers and our disaster recovery pieces. We have 2 of 3 stages already implemented. So over the winter break, we'll test the disaster recovery and failover rates then and bring that back and let you know how that goes.
Great. All right. Anything for Mr. Parker from the?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, John.
All right. Calendars, 2019-20 calendars.
Dr. Barnes, you're up. You've all been providing your packets the copies of 3 calendars, the year-round, the traditional, and the early college that were developed after the calendar committee worked on.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
If it would be appropriate, I'd like to make a recommendation about this year's calendar before we get into next year's.
Okay.
As you know, Hurricane Florence was forgiven by the state, so those 2 days are a wash, and we're fine with that, and everyone was paid, and there's no makeup required. However, Hurricane Michael that came through the next month did have a day that we didn't have school, and that day was not forgiven. We are okay with the student days. We don't need to do anything for that because we have enough hours built into the calendar. However, we do need to have 215 days of employment for our teachers and counselors, anyone who works on the 10-month teacher calendar. So my recommendation is that we add an optional teacher workday to the very end of the year. At this point, we have 1 required day and 1 optional day. We do need to build in 1 more optional day so the teachers actually have 215 days of employment. So that's the recommendation I wanted to make for you folks this morning.
I agree with that. I think that's a good recommendation.
I don't have any issues.
Okay. Then what I will do is put that in for the consent agenda. Michelle, is that what's going to happen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then what I will do is send out an updated calendar after that is done. It really won't affect anybody except for the teachers, but I want to make sure I'll send it out with a message so they know.
They were scheduled to be here that day anyway, or?
No, it will be after the school year's over. The students are already gone, so it will be a day at the very end that they weren't expecting it, and we'll make it an optional work day.
What day does the school year end this year?
Oh, gosh, I didn't look. I think it's June 9th, or it might be June 11th. I think we have a Monday and a Tuesday, and it would add a Wednesday.
Okay. I just want to make sure it's not on Friday or anything.
No,
So
no,
right
no.
on like a Monday the next week.
This year, June 6th is the last day for students. And then June 7th is a required teacher work day. And the 10th and 11th are optional for this year.
And
Okay.
so it would add an optional at the end.
Okay.
And the other issue of why it's important is because when we do things like the Hurricane Day, we have already paid the teachers for the day that they missed. And this would make up the day to make sure that it balances.
Okay.
All right, to put this on consent, you're going to need a motion and a second and decision by the committee to forward to the board.
So move, I make the motion that we add the optional teacher work day to the end of the school calendar for 2019 in the month of June, and make this recommendation to the full board.
Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0.
All right, so what you have before you is the calendar committee's proposal for the traditional, the year-round, and the early college calendar. Obviously, the early college is its singular, and then the year-round calendar only affects Wolf and Shiloh at this point. The calendar committee met. The calendar you have before you meets all the state requirements. It balances the number of days between fall and spring, and it leaves us with approximately 54 hours of give time extra to meet the requirements of the instructional hours. So if we have snow days or another hurricane day, we have extra built into the calendar as well.
I like it.
I do have one change request.
Yes.
On the year-round, the intersession color is the same as the end of grading period color on the traditional calendar. Can we
Okay.
change that?
Yeah,
Just to
of course.
delineate it.
The one other thing I wanted to make sure I referenced is we really tried to listen to the calendar committee's request about reducing the number of early release days that we have. They're not the best instructional model, as well as the fact that it causes some kind of conflict for parents and childcare. So I went and talked with the academic team yesterday. We've reduced that to just one in the fall and one in the spring. And we tried to bracket them with days that the students would be out of school the next day to try to make that a little more convenient for parents. So if you look
How
on the
many are we at?
traditional,
How many?
one in the fall, one in the spring.
How many are we at currently?
We have 5 now. And then we've built in a couple of days in the calendar specifically for full day PD, so that can balance that out. And we were able to put more teacher work days in the middle of the calendar during that time between January and April to make that a little less, completely 60 days without a break.
So for that, for the early release days for professional development, you have, okay, so we're only doing 2.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so one in the fall, one in the spring. Okay, got it.
So what does that do for the teachers now for their additional,
Professional development.
professional development?
We designated 2 full work days as being all day PD, so that will balance it back and give us, one of the real struggles that we have with this calendar is that you do a huge amount of PD right at the beginning, and then you don't have time for anything throughout the year because of the way the calendar works with when the kids can come and when the kids have to leave. So this calendar is a little bit easier to squeeze in a couple of days here and there. So we wanted to make sure we had PD that kind of went in increments throughout the year rather than all at once in the beginning. So 2 full PD days gives us the opportunity to do some of those district level initiatives with all the teachers together.
All right.
I like it. I like the reduced number of half days.
Yeah, I think everybody will. Okay.
And the other question regarding the calendar is the process on the website for how the calendar is created yet?
I think that
We develop administrative guidelines, and I think that they're up.
Okay.
Trying to remember.
the old ones were, so I think that they got changed.
Yes.
Because I get a lot of questions about how the calendar is developed and how do I get involved in it. And it's just on the website.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that
we've
went to
got-
policy committee, I think last month, and the policy committee made some proposed revisions.
Yeah.
And so they should be ready to go.
Okay. Thank you.
And Ms. Morris, do we need a motion in a second to bring this to the
Here's my
board?
hard copy of all that stuff you
I
just
make the
asked for.
motion that we recommend the 2019-2020 traditional calendar and 2019-2020 year-round calendar and the 2019-2020 early college calendar full board
And did you want the updates to the legend?
with the updated to the legends. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Maybe Google. Okay.
Okay, and do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Well, thank you.
All right.
The one challenge was making sure Columbus Day, we had that off, but we couldn't work that into this calendar.
I was going to ask you about that, Chris.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
I was hoping there was going to be 2 or 3 Columbus Days.
I really worked hard to not put it in today.
All right, transportation update. Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. And do you have a soft copy that you can send to Ms. Merrill and Ms. Wood? They won't have it for this though? Okay. All right, Ms. Merrill, Ms. Boyd, we were actually just handed some presentation material, but we don't have a soft copy to send to you right now, but we will follow up after the meeting and make sure you get a copy of it.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Faye Crowder Phillips, the Safety and Training Manager, and I'm standing in the stead of Mr. Watson this morning.
Okay.
Ms. Benton and I will be providing you the information as per your request. We have distributed to you the on-time arrival percentages per school by cluster area, and we also have provided you with a 4-year comparison of the number of buses, the ridership, miles traveled, and the efficiency rating. So Ms. Benton will proceed with an explanation.
Good morning. The 4-year comparisons, of course, we begin with the 2015-16 school year. The number of buses or the number of routes that were serviced at that time were 316. The ridership numbers of actual ridership was 24,842 students. Daily total miles traveled was 29,604.45 miles with an efficiency rating of 93.95%. 2016-17 year, 295 bus routes and number of buses serviced with a ridership number of 23,290.1. And daily total miles were 28,763 miles with an efficiency rating of 93.15%. Again, for 2017-2018, 292 buses serviced our fleet. Ridership number of 22,608.8. Daily miles traveled was 27,751 miles with a efficiency rating of 92.82%.
Maybe you can send this to Ms. Boyd, Ms. Merrill, like take a picture of it. Sorry, my phone is full of storage. I just want to get these over to him because you're reading the numbers, but
Right.
I'm sure they're not comprehending it. So we're going to send you over an image of this so you guys can see this.
Okay, thank you.
And of course, for this year, the 2018-19 school year, 283 buses are in our fleet. We have added approximately 3 buses to our fleet at this time to accommodate on-time arrival as well as some overload problems that we had. The ridership was 22,431.9 students. A daily miles traveled was 30,840.6 miles. And the efficiency rating, of course, for this year is to be determined. The efficiency rating is based on the previous year expenditures, student headcount, as well as the buses that are operated within the fleet. This is something that the efficiency rating we typically receive the first week in December. So it is coming our way. There has been a delay in the information across all LEAs throughout the state due to the weather, and they had an extension getting their numbers in. So that's the holdup right now.
So the only figure on here that really jumps out at me is the daily miles traveled for this year. I was expecting that number to go down.
Well, we
given the realignment and rezoning to the neighborhood schools.
Right. We had an increase in EC programs and where they're located, which of course it extends routes and the mileage that it served. Also, the IB program we're transporting students forward to Marvin Ridge, countywide, things of that nature. So when those decisions are made, of course, there's going to be an increase in mileage for those. Also, increase in midday modified schedules, students that may travel home in the middle of the day. to and from school on a modified schedule, we had an increase on that as well this part of the year.
How many IB students are we transporting?
How many
I'm
IB
sorry.
students are we transporting?
Right now, I think we're transporting 4 IB students, and they are coming from the Sun Valley Porter Ridge cluster as well as Parkwood.
And do you know? Are you able to tell us how many miles we incurred for 4 students?
I can definitely look at that. I don't know that number at this time.
And I know that in our budget, we had set aside a significant amount because I thought we were going to be transporting a lot more than 4 students. I would also like to know the cost. I would like to know how many miles we incurred for that budget decision, and what has the cost been?
Yes, ma'am.
So that we can maybe make a different decision in next year's budget.
And are we transporting them on an actual like full length bus versus some type of passenger van, or like what is the what's the means?
We are contracting some of those students with our contract vendor, but we also, I mean, it would be a bus is a bus, whether it's a short one or so. As far as mileage or fuel capacity, it's all the same.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on the?
How hard would it be to get a breakdown of, I guess, EC students and IB working into like a separate table, separate on here, so we see which students are going that are in the cluster or getting the bus to their school, or live in the district versus out of the district?
Right. You can do that.
And I'm not sure if I'm asking the same question, so I'll apologize in advance. But can we have a breakdown of miles per cluster?
Yes, we can.
That because I think especially with the realignment, I would like to see how many miles you're incurring per cluster, and if available compared to last year.
Mm-hmm.
For all students?
I would break it down, have a total, one of every 31 of each, break it down that way. We have students traveling outside of cluster, to cluster, and then total cluster,
For the EC students.
EC and IB
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, I think the EC, if you think that's one of the reasons it went up, we definitely need to see EC from last year and EC for this year, and how those decisions, so we can see how those decisions were made to move those programs.
We also endured additional mileage as well for road closures, inclement weather type situations. We had a lot of
With the bridges being washed out?
Right, but bridges washed out, where it would take weeks up to months for repair.
Are there still impacts, or is everything back open now?
Our last one opened yesterday, so we're very excited about it.
So this average is just the average, projected average this year,
Yes,
the 30,000. So it could technically go down with all the
Right.
closures and everything,
Right.
opening back up.
And unfortunately, those are out of our control, but stuff like IB and EC are within our control.
Right.
So that would be helpful.
Okay. Anything to point out on the on-time numbers? I haven't had a chance to look through each one of them. Is there anything that jumps out? What designates on time? Like, what is are we 15 minutes prior to? Like, what's early versus on time versus late? How do we
Early
determine?
means that it's 30 minutes or more before the bell time. On time means it's the scheduled bell time and 15 after. Late is 15 minutes prior to the bell schedule. You will find that almost 100% of our elementary schools, it's 100% for the on-time arrival. If it's not 100%, it's due to an accident, a sub-driver, or a driver that is late.
Particularly our elementary schools are first tier, so I do know that an example of the 15 minutes that Ms. Faye is speaking of is 7:30 bell, for example, is scheduled in for 7 o'clock so that students have breakfast. So from 7 to 7:15, that bus is considered on time. 7:15 and after, the bus would be considered late. And prior to 7 o'clock, of course, the bus would be early.
Okay.
Do we have a way to track, I guess, late? Actually, when buses are after the bell?
Yes, we can look into that.
Okay.
And this is these number percentages are based on since the first day of school.
Okay. That'd be good to know to see which one are truly late.
And also on the early, have we made any changes? So 30 minutes prior to, the students are not able to get in, right? They have to wait on the bus until
They are able to get in.
they are able to get in.
Breakfast line, yes,
Okay,
sir.
so we can still drop off and head out to the next route.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course, with the tier system that we have, a delay in loading students, of course, all the buses, pull into the lot. They can't unload all at once.
Right.
So it does consider, it starts the domino effect if there's delays in that, or there's a situation on the bus lot or whatever. It, may occur that morning. So you could see in the high school and middle school on-time arrivals, it starts that domino effect down.
But we don't have any instances at the elementary level where buses are arriving and students are having to wait on the bus for doors to open or anything. They're able to get right off.
They should be able to get right off.
Okay.
If there is, that's usually our staff communicating with the school staff to assist us to get the students off.
Okay. Very good.
And the numbers for Marvin Ridge Middle, are they?
Yes, we just realized on our way over here that we were missing those numbers. We'll make sure that you get that.
Okay.
We apologize.
Oh, no problem.
Okay. And do you happen to know how we're doing on Here Comes the Bus? Like, are our numbers up on that? I know I didn't ask for that prior to, but do you happen to have any updates on that?
I believe that our numbers have
Yes.
increased with the number of, entries of requests for data or requests for information through Here Comes the Bus. They have been increased, and we can find out exactly what those numbers are.
And are we utilizing that tool to pull some numbers as well, like adjustments to pickup schedules, things like that? Like, are we, the number or the app has to be data rich, I would think. And are we able to tap into that at all to see, when it's arriving within the certain radiuses of the bus stops and things like that? Like, are we able to utilize any of that data currently?
We can, and that's it coincides with our GPS units that are on the bus. So we do have software that's available through GPS to particular address and how often the bus is arriving, the schedule, if they're on time, early or late, or things of that nature.
Is there anything that you guys need, I guess is what I'm getting at. So between GPS and Here Comes the Bus, there has to be a ton of data that we have at our fingertips. And I'm just curious if you and the team have a way to tap into it, or do you need resources that can give us some data to where we can make better decisions, or like what can we do to help, you and the team be able to be more successful, or to at least have that data at your fingertips to make educated decisions?
I would say one of the things, not anything specific that we need, but some of the efforts this year have been in the Marvin Ridge area with buses. We had some issues with late buses down there last year. And we talked about Here Comes the Bus and the GPS data that we've had. There's been an emphasis on looking at those late arriving buses to figure out what we could do differently with some of the routes to get them there on time. And again, we had some challenges last year in the Marvin Ridge cluster. Mr. Watson is focused on that this year, and I believe our performance down there has showed that we're better. Can't think of anything right now that we need, but we can certainly come up with some things.
I would think the roundabouts in that area had to help
Right. They
immensely.
Well, not only did they help, it helped that they weren't under construction anymore.
Right.
So
Right. Well, once they were open, we, you know.
When did they open? Did they impact us?
Yes, it did. It was
So
after
that
the
could be
school
some
year.
of the miles run as
Right,
well.
Exactly. It
Okay,
was.
but we've made adjustments to routes.
We have.
Everything's good.
Yes.
We've actually added one bus to that fleet, to, you know, assist with on-time arrivals and of that nature.
So I remember Mr. Watson gave me some figures, and that, I want to say it was like the Waxhaw, Marvin, and Newtown intersection. That was one of our largest intersections where we had wait time. So the fact that that's open up has to help us.
it
with
was
those
terrible last year.
Oh, yeah.
So just with those opening, we've been able to become more efficient and get kids to school on time.
I guess another one we struggle with is Cuthbertson area, because we get on Cuthbertson Road into the school, the bus is on time, and we sit. So, you know, just trying to get into the school is a struggle.
So I will say on that, you know, there are some road improvements scheduled down in that part of the county, and both transportation and safety and security have been looking at that and talking with local officials just to see what options we have for maybe making things better for next year.
Do we have anyone directing traffic at those schools?
In front of the school, we have a traffic director, safety director out there. But you know, it's one road and it's horrendous. It's just, the road is overloaded for the amount of traffic that's on there.
Do we ever have anybody look to see how the traffic director is directing traffic? The reason I say that, I know I'm impacted personally with Antioch every day and the gridlock that occurs there, particularly in one direction. And I didn't know if, you know, we have the same type thing occurring at Cuthbertson. And
I don't know that we do, but we will. That's a great question. You know, I know we provide training, and I know they try to keep things flowing as quickly as possible, but that's a great question, and we'll look into that, see what we can offer them as far as training or direction to do their jobs better.
Mhm.
Good point.
Because I know they have one vantage point, right? And just curious to see if we could have somebody say, like, the entrance to my neighborhood, if somebody sat there and counted how far a car moves in 20 minutes, I think it would be enlightening.
Do you guys have like a display, like an operations display, like a 70-inch monitor with all the buses where you can see at one time in the county?
We do with our GPS unit, we have dual monitors, that we can see the buses throughout the county, yes.
But that's at your desk. There's not like a
Correct.
command
Like a
center
command
type
center
thing, right?
operations. But,
No.
Hopefully with the new
Is that in the
facility.
plan with the new facility?
We hope.
Okay. I don't think we've gotten to the upfit part of it yet, have we, in design?
So, I mean, we know what the building will look like, but we haven't specified furniture or stuff
Right.
like that will go in it. But we have a budget for it.
Very good. Mr. Holmes, anything else?
I think I'm good.
Ladies on the phone, anything additional for the transportation update?
No, I don't. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for providing the update. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Next item on the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks. Have a good day.